We are live.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to September's planning meeting. Clerk, can you confirm the roll call has been taken?
Through the chair, roll has been taken.
Perfect. And members of the committee, are there any pecuniary interests to declare for any items appearing on the agenda today? Seeing none. Members of the committee, are there any items you would like to separate for discussion purposes? As a reminder, the statutory public hearing will automatically be handled separately. Seeing nothing to be separated. Can I get a mover and a seconder to place all items? Moved by Councillor McCreary, seconded by Councillor Sless. Any discussion? Seeing none. And clerk, could you read what we're voting on just now? Then we'll call the vote.
Through the chair, items subject to the vote are as follows. Item 6.1.1, 601 Park Road North Telecommunications application number AS 0423. And item 6.2.1.1 Planning Committee minutes from August 15th, 2024.
Brilliant. We'll call the vote.
All items not separated carry on a recorded vote of 4-0. Those voting in favor, Councillor Sokoli, Sless, McCreary, and Carpenter.
Perfect. There is one public meeting on today's agenda. The public meeting is held in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act. The purpose of the hearing is to discuss the planning application and to hear from the public, either in support or against the application. At the end of the public meeting, the committee will pass a recommendation, which is generally considered for final decision at the next council meeting. The name of anyone who speaks in regard to any item will appear within the meeting minutes. Anyone wishing notice of further proceedings regarding the application should also provide their name and address to the clerk's office. We ask that members of the public in attendance today to speak to an item, please ensure that you add your contact information to the sign-in sheet located at the back of the room. The applicant will speak first, followed by municipal staff, should this council wish to proceed that way, and then the public. Each will have up to 10 minutes to speak, inclusive of questions from the committee. The applicant will then have 5 minutes to provide clarification to any questions or issues raised during the meeting. As a reminder, the following rules of decorum as set forth in the city's procedural bylaw do apply. No person shall display any sign, banner, or place card in the meeting room other than materials that, in the opinion of the chair, are legitimate audio-visual aids necessary in connection with any presentation. All persons shall use polite and respectful language. All persons addressing the committee shall speak only on the subject to which we are debating. No person shall applaud participants in debate or engage in conversation or behavior that will disrupt the meeting. We will now move forward and hear from the applicant regarding zoning bylaw amendment for 128 King George Road. I will now call upon the applicant or agent to speak to the committee regarding your application. Please come forward to the delegates table. Make yourself comfortable. When the microphone lights up red, you're ready to go. As a reminder, you'll have 10 minutes to speak, and that's inclusive of questions from the committee.
Good morning. My name is Patrick Trottier. I'm the architect and the applicant. Next to me is Ruchika Angrish of the Angrish Group Planners, who will make the presentation for the zoning amendment.
Good morning, committee. My name is Ruchika Angrish. As Patrick mentioned, I am the planner on the project. We have a very small presentation for you. Okay, so the property in question is at 128 King George Road. Currently, there is a single one-story building that is on the property. It was originally a residence, but has been used as a dental office since about 1980s. The site is surrounded by a number of mixed uses. It's on a commercial corridor of King George Road, as you know. There's a large variety of single detached and low density residential in and around the property as well. In terms of the official plan, the site is located on intensification corridor, which is also noted as a strategic growth area of the city. This designation permits a wide range of uses, including residential, mixed commercial, offices, institutional facilities, with variety of height, with minimum 3-story buildings. And then the site is currently zoned residential. As I mentioned earlier, it used to be a residence but has been operated as a dental office. So which leads us to an amendment to the zoning bylaw to allow the proposed use, which I will get into. So we are proposing replacing the building to another 1-story dental office. To accommodate the use, we require a zoning bylaw amendment to change the current residential zone category to a commercial zone category. There are a number of variations that are being requested through the committee. It is related to the design of the site. The primary entrance of the building is going through Wayne Drive. And this access driveway meets the development engineering standards and allows for smooth flow of traffic for the visitors as well as for the employees of the dental office. The building is designed in a way to complement the surrounding commercial uses and the existing residential area. So hence, there's only 1-story building that is being proposed. Our original design included the building kind of to the back with parking both at the front along King George Road as well as at the back of the property as well. But through the first submission comments that were received, staff suggested that we move the building closer to King George Road to address that Realm and King George corridor. So and the entire parking is now located at the back. Again, as I mentioned, there are a few variations that are being sought this morning from the committee, which are reflected in the staff report and the bylaw that has been prepared. We did do an open house early in the year. In January, there was only one neighbor that was present at that open house. No comments or concerns were received when we presented this proposal. There are a couple slides that show the rendering of what is being proposed in terms of, again, complementing what is in existing residential uses along King George and Wayne Drive. So the building materials and the design is going to complement what is surrounding the area. Again, showing from the side view, as you can see. To complete the development, we submitted a number of reports and studies and drawings with respect to the zoning bylaw amendment application. And then following this, we will be submitting a site plan control application with more details around landscaping and other elements that will be requested by the city. That concludes my presentation. I'm unsure if Patrick, you want to add anything. We're happy for any questions the committee may have.
Thank you so much. We have about 5 minutes for questions, and I see Councillor Sless with his hand up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just through you to the proponent, how many people will be employed in this building?
There's about 4 to 7, depending on the day and length of the day serving patients, and every day is different. It is a dental office.
Okay.
No consistent day after day after day patient load.
Okay, so there's more than one dentist in the building then, is that the idea?
There is more than one dentist. There's visiting dentists and hygienists. with their own specialties, but they're not all there at the same time. Again, it
Okay.
depends on the services that are required specific to the patient load for that day.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent. Any other questions from the committee? Counselor McCurry.
Welcome, folks. Could you tell me how many parking spaces are on the site now to service the clientele of the current business?
So the ground floor area is 250 square meters. We satisfy the 25 square meter per one parking stall at 10 stalls, plus we have an additional one, including for barrier-free parking. So we have 11 stalls in total.
No, sorry, I'm talking about the current situation.
Oh, the current
Yes,
parking
number
is,
of parking spots on
is
that
one.
site currently.
it's a house.
Right,
It,
a house, yeah.
it's a house that's being used as a dental office.
right.
So
Thank you.
there's only one stall.
Okay, I see no further questions for you. So I thank you so much for the presentation. You can have a seat and we'll now move on to the staff portion of this. And with the permission of the committee, if nobody objects, I think it's a fairly straightforward application. I thought we could perhaps use this time, 10 minutes to ask questions of staff unless anyone would like to see the staff presentation on this. Counselor McCurry?
I move that we ask staff not to make a presentation and answer questions.
I thought it was fairly straightforward. So seeing no objections, we'll move forward. Oh, sorry. Do you have a seconder for that? According to clerks, we don't need an actual formal motion. It's just in the procedural bylaw that we can skirt over that. Thank you. So does anybody have any questions of staff at this point? Counselor Sleth.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I noticed the setback is it won't be consistent, I guess, with the street. It'll be much closer to to King George Road, the building itself, as compared to the houses surrounding it. Is that going to create a visual strange look? Typically, the build line is consistent along a street.
Through you, Chair. My name is Sean House. I'm a senior project manager with the planning department. With me, I have one of our newer planners, Mila Masick, intermediate planner with our department. Mila's first file, so I wanted to introduce her. But through the chair to the counselor, to answer your question, the building was moved closer to King George Road in line with our urban design manual. So based on good urban design principles, we want buildings in these corridors to frame the street. That's a term that's used as we see the rest of King George Road redevelop as an intensification corridor, and also in accordance with those guidelines, we'll also be seeing more buildings come up towards the street.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate the explanation.
Any other questions? All right, seeing none, sorry, we took away your opportunity for your first presentation. I didn't realize that in advance. You'll get another chance, I assure you. Okay, so that concludes our staff presentation portion of this. We'll now open the floor to members of the public seeking to speak to this item. So if there's any members of the public attending, I don't see anyone in the room, but perhaps in the room or virtually, please use the raise hand function if you would like to speak to this item. Madam Clerk, can you confirm there's nobody online looking to speak to this?
And Madam Chair, I'm seeing no raised hands.
Perfect. I think I have to ask that a few times, don't I? So I'll ask one another time for a second time. Is there anyone looking to speak to this item? And for a final time, if there is anyone out there in the world who would like to speak to this, please come forward now. Seeing none. To the applicant, you now have 5 minutes if you want to address anything that came up, any issues or questions. I don't think there was anything, but we're bypassing that. Perfect. The public meeting is now closed. May I please have a mover and a seconder to place item 4.1 on the floor? I see Counselor McCreary looking for a seconder, Counselor Carpenter. And we're looking to approve the zoning bylaw amendment for 128 King George Road. Any discussion on item 4.1? Counselor McCreary.
Sure, thank you. It's a nice little building designed by some pretty talented folks. It's a vast improvement over what's there now, which is really the continuation of a service that's necessary in that neighborhood. We've got a 12-story proposal across the street. This is a redevelopment across the street from that. And the intensification corridor, I think, will continue to move in that direction. The scale of this building is appropriate for its context. It's actually smaller than the house behind it, which is kind of an odd situation. Parking, I know there was some discussion between staff and proponent about parking. We get 11 spots, I think, if I recall the report correctly. So that's a gain of 10. So it's a bit of a relief for the on-street parking in the neighborhood. Councilor Martin and I went to the open house. It was well attended by folks other than the neighbors who don't seem to really care that this is, being redeveloped. I think they probably see it as an improvement, and it's really quite a neutral impact on the neighborhood as well. So they don't have any concerns. As staff mentioned, this will set sort of a new standard for setback on the street as the remainder of the houses on that block probably continue to be redevelopment sites. I think 3 of them already have been acquired by one owner, so we'll probably see something else there in the near future. So it's a good little building, and I would hope that everybody today is going to support this and unanimously pass this on to council for approval.
Thank you. Anyone else looking to speak to this item? Okay. What's that? Sorry, Counselor Carpenter. Yeah, it
Yes.
blends in with the fall foliage.
Yes, I was wondering if that was the case. I just want to echo what Councilor McCurry had said, but I want to congratulate the dentist's office and the company. They've been in that location for, I heard, since 1980, so that's 44 years. And they're going to continue there in that location. The neighborhood's used to it. It's a service that's required for the neighborhood, as Councilor McCurry had said. So congratulations to them, and kudos for staying with the city of Brantford and staying in their location. I appreciate it very much. It's a nice development.
Thank you so much. Anyone else looking to speak? Seeing none. I like what's before us. I'm completely unbothered by the setbacks. I would rather see parking around the back of the building anyway. I think it just creates a nicer streetscape there. So I'm happy to move this forward, but I do see Councillor Sluss looking to speak now.
Everybody's speaking, so I guess I better, Madam Chair. I wish all planning hearings were this easy. It's something that fits into the neighborhood. It's non-offensive. It's a very nice looking building. And as the ward councillor for the area, Councillor McCreary, indicates, it's probably the start of the redevelopment of this section of King George Road, which I think is very appropriate given the mass and the traffic flow on that street. So I'm very happy to support this, and as I said, I think it's the start of what will continue to happen down that block. Thanks, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. Councillor McCreary looking to speak for a second time.
As is often the case, Councillor Sluss says something wise, which then elicits further thought. With respect to going forward on the intensification corridor here, is our intent to blanket up zone portions like this block of King George Road so we can pre-zone it and not have to go through rezoning?
Through you, Chair, to the councillor, you'll see our new zoning bylaw before you, I believe, next week. And that zoning bylaw proposes this corridor to go from some of these pre-existing residential single detached zones. They'll be zoned to intensification corridor, which does allow for those principles and those built forms that we see it in our official plan. So we'll see less applications.
That encompasses more than just King George Road too, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. That was my impression. Thank you very much for that. So It's too bad you were too early.
Thank you so much, and I see no further speakers, so at this point, I will ask the clerk to call the vote.
Item 4.1 carries on a recorded vote of 4-0. Those voting in favor, Counselor Secoli, Sluss, McCurry, and Carpenter.
Perfect, and we've already handled our items for consideration. We have no delegations, no resolutions, no notice of motions. This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.